Yes, hello and welcome back to Celtic World, the place that unites the worldwide fan base of Celtic. From Machrihanish to Massachusetts, Clackmannanshire to Cliftonville. Wherever you happen to be in this great big Celtic world, you're very much part of it. And eagle-eyed viewers will notice that there's just two of us at the moment because of lots of backstage drama. So let me welcome our one and only person appearing today so far, Michael from Glasgow. How's it going, Michael?
It's going very well. I'm delighted to be back on the show. It's been a little while since I've been on, so I'm looking forward to talk about Celtic and how things are going.
Well, how are things going? Let's see how things are going when we try and welcome back Dano into the room, who couldn't hear us, turned up after going live time and going, can't hear a fucking thing, guys. So let's see what happens now. Can you hear anything, Dano?
Yes. Can
Oh,
you hear
hallelujah.
me?
Yes.
I don't know. I was testing it on the audio. I had to restart my computer. I don't know why this happened, but anyways.
There was no Jamesons involved?
No.
Or Stella?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, and Stephen was to have been joining us, but unfortunately he's moved into his new house, so this was his first test. And he came through all pixelated and
yeah. I'm kind of off site too. I'm at my friend's guest house in Haenam down there. I'll show you guys if anybody's coming here to Korea. This is an amazing place to be. But anyways, we'll deal with that later.
Should we draft Kaiser in as an emergency fourth?
Of course.
I see he's asking for that. Let me just.
I'm obviously not the person to ask, because if it's Kaiser, I'm always into it.
Okay, Kaiser, I've sent you the link by the only way we can communicate, Twitter messages. All right, so what are we going to talk about today, guys? This is the agenda. What happened at the weekend? We won, they won, all of that stuff. Generally, before we get into the specifics of the game, and we pumped those tarts, it should say, followed by Celtic socials.
Yeah, these tarts is a little dicey.
Yeah.
What are you saying about us, Gav?
It used to say, let's pump these tarts, and I just changed it to weave or something. I forgot to read it properly. Anyway, hello to everyone in the chat. I hope you're all well. I won't put up all the hails because there's too many moving parts today. It's all a bit challenging. All right, so let's talk about the events of the weekend. 3 points for us, 3 points for them. Michael, where do we stand? Looking forward to having some fun? How are the nerves?
I don't really think I have any more nerves. Things have just been going so well for me watching Celtic. I've been so happy. The game at the weekend I was quite nervous for, because Hearts have won the last two games against us. Whether we look at how they've done it, they have won them, and to win that comfortably 3-0. I know Hearts had a couple of chances, but it was a great performance. You even talk about a lot of things, the atmosphere. Even I heard on commentary, the BBC, Liam McLeod was talking about that's one of the best atmospheres he's heard at Celtic Park this season, and he compared it to games against Atletico Madrid with the crowd. The crowd were up for the game, and that helps us because they are the 12th man. You look at Callum McGregor's challenge in the game, he runs back and he wins the ball twice, and the crowd's reaction is just unbelievable to see. Things have completely shifted over the past couple of months. We have the momentum. You would have thought at Ibrox, us not winning the game, ultimately it was better for us. That could have affected us. Hasn't affected us at all. If anything, it shifted the momentum further in our favour. Rangers just don't look the same side they did a couple of months ago. The media hype has just shifted so much, and they are trying to make it out as if Rangers are still in this title race. I think that this could be cut at the weekend. You look at the BBC's title yesterday, they put that Rangers had managed to take one goal off the goal difference. The goal difference is the exact same it was on Saturday at 2:59 before the Celtic game kicked off. So the media are still trying to make it as if this title race is still ongoing. But for me, if we win on Saturday, that completely ends it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big if. Dano, you
That's a big
and Kaiser did the watch along, which we were sort of alluding to a moment ago.
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched the game again since, or did you actually see enough of it despite talking about conspiracy theories and drinking heavily for 2 hours?
Yeah, I don't know what happened while I was like having a smoke in the bathroom or whatever, and Kaiser was left to his own devices. But yeah, I came back and it was JFK and Dealey Plaza and a bunch of other stuff. And I expected something like this. I mean, we were kind of having the inmates run the nut house, to be honest with Kaiser and I run of the show. But yeah, I definitely did see the game again. I did see enough of it while I was watching it to catch that it was an amazing performance. I'd say it was probably our best of the year. I mean, we absolutely were completely dominant. Should have won 4 or 5-0, if not more. But yeah, both me and Kaiser, I think we're one Joe Hart spectacular save away, but from having our predictions come true. But yeah, it was every phase of the team really, really was clicking, man. It was phenomenal to see. And we've waited a long time this year. We've had so many injuries and other little issues going on. So watching that game, I'm sure for people in the stands and for people watching everywhere was just like it was for me. Fantastic. So,
well, that was kind of the feedback as well about the drink along. It was fantastic viewing. And here's your partner in crime joining us.
Oh, yes.
Modeling legends.
It is, man.
He's got the same background on.
Yeah. Braj, the IRA. The IRA guy. Yes. I know. I'm using Braj again. I'm doing it for you, Gav.
Yeah, it was all right. I was happy enough to see it or whatever for the watch along. But if you've got a nice neutral one for the sake of the flagship show, that would be appreciated.
Yes.
I don't own anything neutral. Sorry, Gav.
You do. You've got the Sharks. You're usually the Sharks outside Celtic Park.
Yeah, I've got the Sharks. I'll put the Sharks back on, right?
I put the Sharks on. That's more like it.
The All Black Kalashnikov is great, though, man. It's phenomenal.
How many of us watched the Rangers match? That's a good one too.
No, I did not watch the unholy of unholies.
I watched the second half. It was an experience.
Yes. I do not sully my eyes with watching the second best. You know what I mean? Only view champions.
Well, quite a few of us were watching it because in the group chat, I mentioned events of the game and then one by one names popped up. So it's pretty clear that quite a few of us were watching it.
I definitely watched it. Definitely was watching it.
It was just annoying, wasn't it, though? I mean, just the sending off and that. It was, God, here we go.
Even Chris Boyd was questioning it, and that says a lot. And Kenny Miller on commentary for it was a questionable decision at best, and that's 2 ex-Rangers players saying that. So for me, that says it all. With the VAR decisions, and then I've seen on Twitter a lot of games Rangers have been losing, and then they get a penalty. So it's just been happening so much this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's lots of kick and chat about it, and you're fearful to comment on it because you don't want to be called a conspiracy theorist. Have all the Seth Colvins pictures of you up with tinfoil hats and stuff on, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely there's been a part in the assistance there, not just for them as well, but also for Kilmarnock and Hearts as well. Basically, anybody who's had a result against Celtic or played well seems to be getting a wee leg up and a wee hand. As we see, Connor Goldson handballs the ball against Celtic while on a yellow card, never received a second yellow. Shankland, also in the Celtic game, on a yellow card, deliberate handball, didn't receive the second yellow. Kilmarnock player, right at the start of the Rangers game, handball, red card, see you later. You know what I mean? It's always the same.
There was also a high boot during the Hearts game, and it looked even worse than the reverse fixture at Tynecastle when you look at Yang sending off. And it just went out for a throw-in, and the contact's clearly right in the face, whereas Yang's is just before Cochrane's face, and he gets sent off for that. So when you look at stuff like that, it really is quite questionable. And I know the SFA like to come out every sort of couple of months and talk about patting themselves in the back. We've made so many great decisions with the occasional error. So I'd be wondering to see if they have anything to say about those decisions at the weekend.
Exactly. I did see when Yang received the red card, I did think it was really harsh, especially because the way his foot is elevated, but he's elevated his foot with the tip of his toes out. It's not like he's got his foot flat and the studs are showing to rake a player's face. We've seen that so often, you know what I mean? A couple of goalkeepers not cleaning people out and getting away with it. But apparently, it's very different rules. It depends on what you're wearing.
It's incredibly annoying that when you see those sort of stills, compare and contrast, and the results that came from them.
Yeah.
I mean,
just about consistency, really, isn't it? Like, if you're going to send somebody off for one thing, but we're not going to complain if you consistently send players off for the same thing.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're comparing two images and one's worse than the other, and at one time the referee sends them off and the other time they don't, it just makes fans aggrieved. And I'm sure there's plenty of other teams in Scotland that feel aggrieved about decisions they've faced maybe against Rangers this season. You look at even Motherwell when they were winning at Ibrox, they got a penalty against them.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, well, we're going to go ahead.
Yeah, well, and the crowd at Ibrox was pining for every tiny little moment the entire game. Like, it was obnoxious, and I don't know, man. Yeah,
usually
I guess it worked. I guess it worked. Like, I mean, it was over the top even for Mordor, man. It was hefty.
Okay, well, look, we're going to get into our game shortly and go through the main events. And then I guess we'll probably talk a little bit more about what our chances are, how we expect things to go, the build up to the big match next weekend. Before we do, we're still doing a little bit of pre-game stuff. I've got a few other things to show you. One is, let's enjoy listening to Liam Scales expressing himself numerically.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I think he's like, 100%.
How many? Yeah.
Love these press conferences. Oh, Michael, I don't know if you saw the one that we did recently, which was Kuhn. And I sort of chopped it up and made a wee joke on how none of the questions he's asked are open questions. And he answered almost every question with, yeah, of course. Of course, yes. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, these guys know
journalism.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, because you're a journalist. When you're in those things, do you go out of your way to ask a question that can't be answered with a yes or no answer?
Usually not, no. I'd never ask a yes or no question.
Well, exactly.
So I don't know what these people are being taught. But at the same time, I think a lot of them are maybe just breaking into doing journalism. So they'll probably learn that through time.
Good amateurs. But are these not the proper press? It was like the pre-game Celtic TV one. It wasn't.
Was it? Aye. They are supposed to be the top echelon of journalists, aren't they?
Well,
and I notice what they do is they start with a good question and then they love their sound of their voice so much that it morphs into another question and then it ends up becoming a yes/no question. So the answer is yeah, of course, Kaiser.
Well, gone are the days when a journalist does actual job of a journalist and does a bit of investigative reporting, investigates the story, looks for points. Nowadays, a journalist, no offence, Michael, sorry, I know you are a journalist, but most journalists nowadays for mainstream media, right, tend to just go on social media, look at what the fan groups are saying, and then grab a tweet and put that as a headline. You know what I mean? There's not really any investigative journalism going on. They're not really going about and kicking over rocks and looking for stories like they did in the 1980s. Gone all those days.
Well, here's a little story then for you. I don't know if anyone picked up on this, but Cliftonville were playing against Linfield in the Irish Cup final. These two are arch enemies. Cliftonville's like our local team, you know, me and Brian, Paddy Lavery, people like that. And they haven't won this trophy since 1979. So it's packed to the rafters, Windsor Park, which is the cup final venue, and Linfield's home ground, you know. And anyway, it was 1-1 at full time. Cliftonville go 2-1 up in extra time. And then in the dying seconds, Linfield push everyone up, including the keeper. And then this happens. Not that. What's coming now? He's celebrating.
Yeah.
The wheel is over. Cliftonville have ended 45 years of hurt. They have won the 2024 Irish Cup.
What a moment in this cup final. Linfield pushing everybody forward. We see Chris Johns
Look at that.
and Ronan Hayes
brilliant.
in
Brilliant.
space. He's celebrating 45 yards from goal. He's got his hands in the air in front of his own fans.
I would have missed that. I'd have blazed that over the bar.
Yeah. That's exactly when I blow it. Yeah.
I'd have been celebrating all the way in and then roasted that right over the bar, bro.
I know. I was expecting maybe a moment where like a guy drops the ball right before the goal line, like celebrating in American football or something like that. Those moves have become notorious over the past like 5 years, but awesome.
And then, do you know a Scottish vlogger called BlairMcNally?
Yes.
Ginger fella, really blue eyes. He was at the game, and he's made an amazing video of it from arriving in George Best Airport, going for an Ulster fry, and all the rest of it. So I'm going to play a little bit of his as well. I hope he doesn't mind me playing a little bit from his channel, but I recommend you check it out. I'll leave a link in the show notes. I show his face and his channel in this little snippet. This is like from his sort of pitch side point of view, and it's brilliant to watch.
Listen to this place go. They are seconds away from making history. Last chance for Linfield. They need to get everybody up now. The keeper's up.
Oh, come on. Don't stutter.
Go on, internet.
This is annoying.
Pressure in here. Cliftonville are hanging.
Oh my god. That's no good, is it? Come on,
on for
play.
their dear lives. Oh! Wow! Cliftonville have just done it! Look at the fans! Wow! For the first time since 1979, Cliftonville have just won the Irish Cup. Fucking hell, man! You cannot be that! That is a moment for the history books. The smoke bombs out. The Cliftonville fans are going mental. Oh my god! Wow!
Final whistle.
Wow!
Pretty amazing scenes, huh?
I've seen that clip in social media. I just clipped it to that moment where he jumps out of his skin.
Yeah.
I watched it a few times just to repeat.
I have
He
seen
was
that
doing-
guy a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does good. He does good stuff.
He was, I don't know why Kaiser's gone. He was doing a lot of talk about, look, the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers, is one thing, but that was over in Scotland. This is where the troubles happened, right here. And this is Cliftonville against Linfield. So I think when he heard a bang, maybe that was somewhere in his mind.
He definitely jumped right out of his skin, man.
They're not in Scotland anymore.
Yeah, right. Enter the danger. Yeah, no, amazing. That's so great for them, though, man. Kind of reminds me of like Hibs taking the Scottish Cup, quite a few years ago. That was a super long drought, or like my favorite baseball team, the Cubs, winning it after 108 years. That's magic when it happens. If you've been following them your whole life. I mean, my grandma was like 95. She'd never seen the Cubs win the World Series, so it was incredible. So big moment, man.
And Jim Magilton is the manager. Is that a name that means then to you? He used to play for Southampton, Sheffield Wednesday. He's a good player. He was like in the Liverpool reserves for years and years, never quite made it.
Mm.
So that was good. Well done, Cliftonville. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, man.
It's good quality.
Especially beating Rangers Feeder Club or whatever those guys do over at Linfield.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can keep talking while I set up the game stills.
Right.
What were the circumstances in which you watched the game, Michael? Were you at home on your own or down the pub?
Yeah, I was writing about the game from home. So I was just watching the game as it went on. Hearts had an early chance, and then Celtic just got that early goal, and it really just affected the atmosphere.
All right, here's the Hearts early chance that you mentioned. This was like before 1 minute had elapsed.
Yeah, nobody's even settled in, man.
A great block for Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Genius. Yeah, huge.
But to be fair, there was plenty of players on going onto the line when Shankland took the shot. So
a lot of bodies, yeah.
Yeah. But Hearts certainly came to play. Stephen Naismith spoke about that. But they just went against them in the game.
Yeah.
But that's a character you've got to show in the early minutes of games to fight back after that early chance. They could have let that get against them maybe earlier in the season. Celtic, that would have affected them, whereas now they just seem to have transformed. Something for me is Kyogo's scoring a lot more headers. I don't remember him scoring many headers in the previous 2 seasons, but whereas if you look at this season, he's scoring a lot more headers. And it's not so much about his heading ability, it's more about this timing of his runs, where he can make that run and he's got that time and space to just head the ball cleanly into the net. And the VAR review was laughable at best, and you've even got people questioning if Kyogo was offside. He clearly wasn't offside.
We'll get to that in a second. I mean, of course he's not scoring as many headers because in the old days, under the previous manager, it's all square, low-driven crosses that he has to get his foot on the end of.
Yeah.
As well, really.
Keeping the ball on the ground, yeah.
You know, Mr. No Plan B, as he's been called down south now, 4 defeats on the trot. But this was a nice wee lifted ball by Hatate back into the danger zone. Kyogo sticks his heat on it. We've got the VAR lines here. What were they trying to say? This was quite confusing for me.
It's that rule with the goalkeeper, and if the goalkeeper comes out and there's a defender behind him or a player from his team, that the goalkeeper is the offside line. So, and I think it was Chelsea v Tottenham, but I think it was last season, that it was more contentious, and that was really when a lot of people focused on that rule. So even though Shankland's there, he doesn't affect the play. It's the goalkeeper that is the line of offside or onside, and Kyogo clearly looks in line.
Yeah, his best explanation I saw for it was you need 2 players to be playing you onside, and Shankland effectively becomes the goalkeeper in this, and the goalkeeper becomes an outfield player, if you like. There's a lot of dog barking going on here as well. So, Daniel, you're going to start talking.
Yeah, my guy went kind of nuts. This was Hart had at least 2 unbelievable saves during this game, and this was definitely one of them. And yeah, I mean, you always talk about how can the game change the complexion of everything, and we're still only up 1-0, and unbelievable save. He had 2 of them that were fantastic. And this is another one that's like almost a momentum builder for Celtic, and one of the things that's shown how valuable he's been and how difficult he's going to be to replace this offseason. So yeah, genius, man. Brilliant. He had a great game. Everybody had a very good game on Saturday.
Yeah, I see lots of people mentioning other incidents. I think we're going to get to them all. This is 17 minutes. Shankland's yellow. Well, this is quite fun because I've got a 9-year-old son, and he's made his first little flip books. You know, when you used to do that, you'd make like a guy running and pulling out a sword or whatever.
All right.
And I sort of did something similar with this, just enjoying how his expression changes. So he got a yellow for what was described by the commentary as maybe a sly little elbow. I didn't really see that, to be honest. But then he somehow stayed on the pitch. But various opportunities arose later in the game
The
to get him
referee
off.
took his time with that decision as well. I think play went on for a couple of seconds before he blew his whistle. But it was quite an interesting decision for him to book him if there is a flying elbow. You would need to see it back in replays and stuff to really come to a clear decision. But VAR didn't intervene on that occasion.
Mm-hmm. Well, better bring us back occasionally. I can see your faces and I look at your faces, but I have to remember that that's not what's being shown. Okay, and then the moment of the game, Dano. What this? 20 minutes. People talk about us having a bad start to the game. We scored our first goal on 3 minutes, our second on 20.
Yeah.
Let's have more of those bad starts. But this is O'Reilly just releasing the ball. Gorgeous effort.
Magic. And, most players when they're trying to volley the ball, they are trying to blast it. And, a lot of times it turns into nothing because they blast it over the bar or, they shank it. Kyogo just putting that subtle touch on it to kind of not only put it on target, but set the keeper off who's expecting what everybody expects when somebody's trying to volley it. Was genius, man. What a pass. What a goal. Absolutely superb. Might be goal of the season. I would say for sure.
How many times in a game would Kyogo make those runs and you'd be watching as a fan and think, oh, maybe they should have played the ball over the top or maybe they should have played the ball through. And it was great to see O'Reilly do it on that occasion, to have that vision, have that belief to play the pass. And it really pays off. That's what we all know Kyogo's capable of. If you play those balls in behind or over the top. And O'Reilly himself, he's having an incredible season. And he's just one of the most all-round midfielders I've ever seen at Celtic. Matt O'Reilly, every aspect of his game is phenomenal.
Yeah, and do you see the way the defender and Kyogo are quite close to each other there? If you play it on, this is the defender who was close to him.
Yeah.
And that's the point of contact. So another defender had to kind of come in.
And the goalkeeper as well. The goalkeeper finally decided to come off his line. You can see that there.
Everybody was out of position. Man. I mean, either too slow or too late.
I would love to be in the room for Hearts watching that back, maybe in the coming days, about what they could have done better in that situation. And even Stephen Naismith, he was very angry after the game. And a few of the Hearts players actually felt the wrath of that. I don't know if you're aware of this, that he left a couple of the Japanese players to get the train home because they were talking with Kyogo and Hatate after the game. And then Vargas was talking to Palma, and there's a picture of a fan with getting a picture with Palma at Palma's car, and all you can see is Vargas in the passenger seat. So Palma was having to chauffeur him back home. So Stephen Naismith did not take the result very well at all.
Wow.
Yeah. And what's I mean, is that a very effective reaction? Not really. I mean, that just puts the players off, right? I mean,
to the modern player, I wouldn't say it's very effective. He's maybe thinking back to, he was managed by people like Walter Smith. Maybe they would have done it then, but for now, in this day and age in football, I don't know if that would be very effective.
Well, we better answer John Clement's question. There's a conversation going on about American sports here, and John's asking, why do they call it the World Series when it's only the Yanks that play in it? The implication being that Americans have such a sense of superiority that they think they are the world. Dano, do you know the answer to this?
I would say that was true a long time ago, but Korea, Japan, the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Mexico, there's a huge thing with baseball in Canada too. It's definitely
why is
bigger
it called
than
the
America.
World Series?
Yeah, I'd say
I'll tell you.
I'd say at the start, it's generally just American superiority.
No, there was a newspaper at the time called The World, which sponsored it at its inception. So it was known as the World Series.
Was this based in New York?
Well, somewhere in America, probably New York, I would imagine.
Yeah. I would guess, yeah.
So there you go. It's got nothing to do with American imperial dominance and hegemony over the world.
Try and
Sorry,
stop
John.
us. Yeah. I
Kaiser's
kind of answered
back.
his question in the chat too. So
Oh, did you?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, sorry,
Kaiser?
Legends had a little power cut there. Seen this cut out and then back in. Don't know, I think it was Gav's internet drawing too much power when he was trying to play that video. Got his brown out here in Ibrox.
There's Paddy. Paddy's in. Paddy, did you miss the Cliftonville bit that we did at the start? Talked about that game, showed some of the footage. Absolutely amazing. I saw some of the other side saying, what chance have we got of decent refereeing when this was given as a free kick to Celtic? Comedy moment.
brilliant.
Comedy moment.
God.
And there wasn't much of a push, was there? I didn't see much of a push.
No, not really. But
You might see that in the warm up next weekend.
yeah, they're gonna be working on it in training. Yeah.
But the way the two of them looked at each other afterwards was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It was quite good.
Definite free kick.
Morning after. Yeah.
41 minutes. Clark save from O'Reilly volley. This was kind of moment that might have escaped your memory, but yeah, O'Reilly had a low. He sort of, yeah, that's right. The ball came from Jamesy, and it's sort of O'Reilly's first touch sort of flicked it up, and then he volleyed it, and the keeper got down quite smartly to his left.
Yeah, he certainly had a decent game, the Hearts goalkeeper, didn't he? He had plenty of saves to pull off.
This is one that was mentioned in the chat earlier. Hatate sort of gets the ball
Snell is
through to
brilliant.
Kyogo somehow. Kyogo does a really quick turn. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Hatate's
The keeper
skill is
saves this as
absolutely
well.
brilliant there to get Kyogo that time and space. With Kyogo's hitting the shot first time, whereas Hatate gives him that much space with his effort on the ball to shift in favour of the goal. It's brilliant for Hatate, and to be honest, Hatate's just completely shifted this side in the opposite direction. We were all hopeful that he would have a huge impact, and he just has done that. Every aspect of his game as well. It gives us a greater balance in midfield, and we just look a completely different side.
Yeah.
100%, Michael.
Xander Clark, to his credit, had a great game. I mean, even though they gave up 3 goals, like he made quite a few very, very good saves during the process of that game. I mean, that just kind of shows how, Hearts are a dangerous team to face. And, we should be thanking our lucky stars going out 3-0 against them and really building some momentum after that game, because it was looking like a trap game to me before we played.
Yeah.
Well, I was calling.
We could have had a ton of goals.
I was calling the 3-0. You get me, Daniel? I was telling people it was going to be 3-0, and people were saying, no way, Celtic are going to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So I predicted the 3-0, I predicted a Liam Scales header from a corner, which would have been the second unicorn to go along with a clean sheet. You know what I mean?
Oh.
But we never got the Scales.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. All right, so into the second half then. Kaiser, I saw you on the drink along saying how Celtic were like dominant in the first half and playing free flowing football, but more dogged. Dogged was your key word for their second half performance. But we still got quite a few chances. This is O'Reilly with what was nearly an amazing assist. He drove the ball low across the box. Kyogo slid in, just missed it.
This would have been a beaut, man.
Yeah,
just outside of Kyogo's reach, man. Unbelievable. I mean, O'Reilly just had an amazing game on Saturday.
He added to his highlights reel, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think after a Magnum and a bottle of Buckfast, dogged was the key word. You get me, guys?
Dogged or dogging?
Quite well. Both preferably. Dogging.
Yeah, dogging.
Yeah, I thought, like, as I says, the first half I thought we were free-flowing and we were cutting Hearts open, cutting them apart, even though they were in the game and offering resistance. But the second half, it just seemed to get bogged down in midfield. It was a lot more hard-fought, battling for every inch. You know what I mean? Was my overall feeling.
There's a lot of talk in the chat about Joe Hart, so let's have a look at one of his moments then. This was the next thing. 52 minutes. Hart save. Turned out to be offside. But look how far off his line he is. That's quite a rarity. He's playing with a degree of freedom that I wish we'd seen from him for 3 years.
That
coming
technique
for crosses and off the line.
Yeah. That technique there, you see Joe Hart using, sees he dives down, he dives forward and out. That is like peak goalkeeping technique. Another keeper would dive like to the side, but that diving outwards, it just cuts down the angle. Absolutely superb. Very brave as well, diving at players' feet.
That far off of goal too. Brave. Very brave.
Nice. Good point there. Kyogo's shot should have squared it. Could have squared it to Forrest. Remember this,
Forrest
Michael?
was screaming. When you watch that back, Forrest was screaming, and he's usually quite a quiet guy, James Forrest, but he was not happy. But and I think it's just after this when you see him and he's shouting at Kyogo, "You should have squared the ball." But would we blame Kyogo wanting his hat trick? I don't think anybody blames a striker, and that is the way a striker needs to be. Want to try and get another goal and make it a hat trick. But to Celtic in the second half, you see a different side to their game. We're showing that more resilience. But that's going to happen when you play Hearts. Hearts are the third best team in Scotland. They're going to have spells in games where the trouble is, and we've just got to weather that storm for no matter how many minutes. And maybe a lot of people think Celtic need to dominate games for 90 minutes, but in football, very rarely do teams dominate another team for 90 minutes. So we've got to expect that, particularly losing our last two games to Hearts, but we had to show that a little bit of resilience and put in that performance, and everybody wants to see that.
There's Mahesh making a point. Celtic had control from 25 minutes, 2-0.
Yeah.
Hearts only had one shot at goal from then till finish. Is that right?
Yeah. That's why I was trying to say, like, Hearts still looked like they were in the game. You know what I mean? But the second half display was very it was bogged down in midfield. It was fighting for every inch. And yeah, Celtic were in control because we were in the lead. But if it was nothing each, it would have been a different second half. You know what I mean? It would have been very hard fought. And Gav, yeah, you're spot on. We did create a few chances there as well. And Michael as well. Definitely, that's what you want your striker doing. Seizing those chances. It's got to be selfish. It's not like Kyogo's on fire and scoring for fun all season long.
Yeah.
And what do you want your captain to be doing as he's coming back from injury and in the run into the season? Do you want him to be doing anything like this?
Oh, yeah.
The biggest roar of the night, Dano.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. He had this and another tackle I noticed that were just superb, like sacrifice your body, sacrifice everything for the team type of moments. But yeah, the crowd absolutely loved it. Deservedly so, man. The cap is back. Calmac is back. Just in time too.
There was also a forward run he did in the first half into Hearts' box, and you see that McGregor wasn't making those runs in the past couple of weeks. And Brendan Rodgers even spoke about it after the game. And you know when Brendan Rodgers wants to highlight it, he's feeling up for it. He says Cal McGregor is ready. And he ended the quote with that when he was asked a question by a reporter. So he was maybe questioning if McGregor was back to full fitness, but we all know now that Cal McGregor isn't ready for the game against Rangers on Saturday. And that's quite a scary sight to think when you think that he didn't play against Rangers at Ibrox. And for me, McGregor is just a wee bit better than Iwata. So we're going to be a better side on Saturday than we were at Ibrox.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come on to that for sure. 56 minutes. Hatate shot saved by... No, the Hatate shot was saved and then O'Reilly followed up. So this is Hatate's just shot. Keeper saves it. Bounces back out to O'Reilly. He shoots. Keeper saves it.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones. O'Reilly's took the shot as quickly as he could, and he's maybe not got the best technique behind it. But that says a lot about Celtic. They were creating those chances in the second half when I think we were 2-0 up at the time. We're still creating chances, cutting through Hearts. Whereas earlier in the season, we were only creating a lot of clear-cut chances in the box. You look at where O'Reilly and Hatate are, they're right in the Hearts box, and we're right up the pitch, whereas earlier in the season, we were struggling to break teams down. So we just look like a completely different side. You've got to create those chances, clear-cut chances in front of the keeper.
And we did create quite a few of them, so I'm a bit confused by Mahesh's point. Not that Kaiser has a point. Kaiser often has very good points. But Celtic's XG in open play in the second half was 0.6, barely enough for a goal.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
This double shot here, surely
You know
that,
what I mean?
that could easily be a goal.
Like I'm saying, Gav, that
might
makes
be the whole
sense to
thing,
me.
to be honest. Yeah.
That makes sense to me because not saying Celtic played poorly in the second half. I think Hearts elevated their game and were trying to dig in midfield, especially about the 60th minute. Hearts seemed to like come alive and really have a surge for 10 minutes, trying to claw their way back into the game. And I was saying to Daniel as we were watching it, maybe that's a reaction that a few teams have noticed when Brendan does make the changes on the 60-minute mark. Perhaps there's a wee bit of fragility there with the players just coming in and trying to get up to pace, and other teams are going for it at that point. You know what I mean? They just had that look about them, but Brendan delayed the substitutes and just outfoxed them, just more intelligence. It was good to see.
I think it was extremely telling that Brendan did his substitutions at 70 minutes rather than what we're used to seeing. Yeah. He was definitely feeling what he was seeing out there, but then he knew he at least had to get a few substitutes in at some point. So he waited till 70. I thought that was telling.
Well, this is on 58. Forrest left foot squirms it. If he'd have connected better with that
he should have squared that ball there to Kyogo. If you look,
should have squared it to Kyogo. Yeah.
Is this the Oda one, Gav? Is this the Oda effort on the screen right now?
This is the one that Joe Hart saves with his chest.
Yeah.
But in the build-up, Greg Taylor is fouled in that. It was very poor officiating, and Greg Taylor is down holding his face. And that's not something that Greg Taylor does week in, week out, and he plays the advantage. It's a brilliant save for Hart with his chest, maybe uncharacteristically for a goalkeeper to save it with his chest, but it's a brilliant save. But for me, in that, the build-up, the officiating is very poor. With Greg Taylor, he's down with a potential head injury, and you are supposed to blow for stuff like that. And people might like to make jokes about players down holding their faces, but for me, it's just terrible officiating in that instance.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of terrible officiating,
he sees it clearly.
Dano, you've been brought up with basketball and things. I mean, you can tell what happened here.
He's reaching for the ball. I mean, it was in the box. He obviously saw it. You know, I don't know how this wasn't a red. It was blatant, man. It was ridiculous. But I don't know. Shanklin's got a certain amount of gravitas with his past performances in the league. I think the referees were a little reticent to give him a red.
That's player of the year. You can't do that the day before the announcement, can you?
Something's going on in the background. I mean, it was obvious red card. I mean, you see the red they give the next day versus Rangers, and it's like, how did that happen? But gravitas. It's got some swerve, man.
Gav, you missed the reaction after it when he's like that with his hands.
That's right.
And he's like that with his hands, it's showing clearly what he's just done, and the referee didn't even just point to the penalty spot at that point, where Shanklin's just looking at what have I done with his hands.
Yeah.
And how the referee didn't blow for it, it's ridiculous.
No.
He didn't blow for it, did he?
No.
Had to be VAR to tell him what to do.
It had to be VAR, like, come on, man.
And VAR didn't just say to him, look, it's a definite handball, just give it.
No,
it was like, come over and see what you think. See if you made some sort of an error. What the heck?
Been going this season.
Yeah, man.
What's that?
Sorry, did I cut out there?
Yeah, I think so.
The way VAR's been going this season, you expect VAR to be there for the referee, like a helping hand. Like if you should hear like a buzz in his ear, he doesn't need someone to come in and talk to him and tell him to come and check his screen. You should hear a beep and know that the review is there. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be. They shouldn't be re-officiating the game. It should be his decision that's key in the first place, and he should be able to make those decisions. Just standing there and watching a handball and being too afraid to blow the whistle and make the decision because the VAR review is coming. You know what I mean? He knows that VAR review is coming. So for me, it's a bit backwards.
It's all a disaster. Well, what isn't a disaster suddenly is Celtic's penalty taken, Michael.
Yeah,
O'Reilly strokes one into the top corner like it ain't no thing.
Interesting for me and my dad were talking about this. It was like, who's going to take the penalty? Because Ida had been taking them, and he is on the pitch at the point. You can see him running into the box. So it's very interesting that Matt O'Reilly is stepping up now, taking the penalties. The only question I would have is, where has he been until maybe the Rangers game for penalties? He has been there all the time on the pitch when you've seen all these players like Kyogo, Hatate, Palma taking penalties. So it's very interesting that Matt O'Reilly has finally stepped up as our penalty taker. He has a great assurance when you watch him. I maybe even use the word finesse when he steps up to take a penalty. He's a brilliant player.
It's that masterful left foot, isn't it? You always like a left-footed player to be hitting the penalties. For some reason, it's just a way I've always liked to go as well. Left-footed players hitting penalties. Keeper, I find that harder to read, a left-footed player. For what my friends tell me who play in goals.
There's always just a certain amount of magic with left-footed players too, isn't there? Like just generally, not just penalties. There's just something about them.
It's because they're sort of put together differently from right-footed people. I mean,
yeah.
So you just appreciate it that much more because for most of us, our left foot is for standing on. Otherwise, pretty handy with the left.
Or holding the ball with.
Yeah,
right.
You always hear people saying he had a magical left foot or a wand of a
like
left
a
foot.
wand.
You don't hear them say that about the right foot. You know,
No,
it's just a
that's
club.
true. That's racism against right feet.
Yeah, it's we'll end up for hate crimes.
So there's a few of the stats there. I don't know if any of those are of particular interest to people. The possession, shots, 17, 8 on target. I mean, that's reasonably healthy.
Yeah, seems telling with those numbers.
Final third passes, 199.
It's a great warm-up for the Rangers game on Saturday, definitely, to be playing Hearts right before it. Think of the other teams in the league. Who would have probably, they may be exception of Kilmarnock, who would have gave us a better game than Hearts at Celtic Park? They would have came and it's a cup final for Hearts, let's be honest. I think we all know that. When Hearts plays, we're going to see the best of Hearts when they come up against us. And if that's the best of Hearts on Saturday against maybe us close to our best, it's a good sign for the Rangers game.
Yes, we were very good. And I agree with whoever's on the comments saying, what's with all the negative talk about our players after a game like that? Should be no room for negativity, you know.
Who has been negative?
Oh, various
Not
people.
us.
Yeah,
No, not us. Not us. People in the comments.
We still have
happy over here, man.
Back as well, which I think is quite important. We're still maybe a player away from our best starting 11. He came on off the bench, and for me, I think Maeda should start against Rangers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, of course.
He seemed to have an extra bit of pep in his step as well. All of the players I've had that, like Cal Mack's more powerful running. James Forrest as well has looked like a powerful runner. Like he's not got the same pace, the same like half yard that he used to have, but he looks more powerful in the run, more dynamic. You know what I mean? Maybe they're all doing Pilates with Matt O'Reilly because they seem to have a bit of core strength.
I think that could be to do with maybe him growing out his hair. I don't know why, but people seem to be appreciating him more when he looks a wee bit more stylish with the longer hair. Exactly. Everybody seems to be idolising them more.
Nobody appreciates a baldy.
Yeah. It's less aerodynamic.
It's terrible, Gav. It's absolutely ridiculous. But everybody's got that more appreciation where he looks more like a pop star or a celebrity with a hairstyle.
I think once he dropped the line about his daughter wanting him to grow his hair out and how he did it, like that just basically melted the butter, man. Everyone's, oh,
These kids are
so brilliant, though.
I mean, how could you say no?
Yeah, this is girl, man. Do it.
He's always got his family at the games and stuff as well. He brings them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Family's always there in support.
He's a total family dude, man. That's awesome.
So let's talk about the game that's coming up because the build-up starts here. I'll tell you how I'm thinking. I was supremely confident before these last couple of games. I was pretty confident they were going to drop points. They didn't, right? So there is a lot. There's so much riding on this game. I saw Robert's comment earlier about the amount of money that's riding on it. And
I think for me, Gav, a few weeks ago, this game was described as a must-win, right? And we've seen that shift. We've seen it shift from must-win to let's go out there and have fun. You know what I mean? It's definitely a must-not-lose. We never go into this game looking to draw or anything like that. You go in this game looking to win. You know what I mean? But I think you've seen the narrative shift from very much the press and stuff were in support of Sevco's title challenge, and they were in the ascendancy. And when I made the mere suggestion that Celtic were actually in the ascendancy, like it was like I was speaking Joey Barton French. You know what I mean? People were like, no, I don't think so. But definitely Celtic are in the ascendancy. You know what I mean? Look at the players coming back. We're strongest we've been all season. It bodes well as well. Callum McGregor's play bodes well for Scotland as well. Looking at the Euros in the summer and stuff, you know what I mean? Matt O'Reilly's form picking back up bodes well for Denmark. Bodes well for Celtic. It's just key markers all round.
I
I
think
can't
Yes.
wait to play them.
Everything's in our favour. It's at our home. It's all our fans. We're the form team. Everyone's playing well. Rogers is there winding everyone up with his sound bites.
fun.
But, I don't know if I'm just a negative Nelly or whatever, but when everything seems to be pointing in one direction, that's when football can give you a boot in the balls.
Mhm.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, I've told you the last couple of games, we were not favored at all. And it's like, we got them right where we want them, boys. They're not expecting us to do anything, just roll over and die. This one, it's a new position for us, for sure. All season, we've gone into this game not favorites, not fancied at all, and injured, banged up, missing key players. Now we're pretty much full strength, and I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but you got to feel super confident with having gotten results of some type against them, fighting with basically 2/3 of a team.
We are a better football inside. When you look at our midfield,
Absolutely,
that's where games are won. And for people to be saying that Rangers are in the ascendancy, we just have the better, more technical midfielders, even adding Callum McGregor to that, Hatate, O'Reilly. That's where the game's going to be won. They've got great experience together. They've played in so many derbies. So I'm extremely confident. When you look at we actually have a wide player who is contributing something in James Forrest, with the exception of Maeda, who has been injured. So and that's somewhere that we're stronger in the last game. You look at Awata's probably going to be not playing the game, but he played at Ibrox. We're going to have a fully fit Callum McGregor. You're talking about Maeda looking back to full fitness. He'll probably start. So we're going to be a stronger team. Kyogo's finally found his form at the right time of the season. Everybody liked to highlight that we were maybe in a crisis. We weren't in the best of form, but our players thrive on that. If you want to play for Celtic and the standards we set ourselves, we don't set ourselves up for failure. Across the city, they do. They hype themselves up at the wrong time of the season when they find a little bit of form. Whereas at Celtic, if you've seen the same thing happen, it wouldn't be like that. It would be, right, we've got to focus. So everybody knows we talk about a bit of fun. That says a lot about Brendan Rodgers. The media wanted to try and take him down, make him leave the club with some of the things they said about him, whereas now he's thriving on it. He knows, he even said at the beginning of the season, I'll see you back here in May. So he's going to be buzzing. We all know what sort of person Brendan Rodgers is. So everything's boding well. For me, I could see he's taking a good few goals off them and it being quite a hiding. I'm not feeling pessimistic at all.
We're all scared to think that and say it out loud.
I'm not.
No, I'm not either. The crowd.
I'm not either. No, not at all. Having watched Rangers,
yeah,
the
crowd was chomping at the bit last Saturday. They are going to be
bring on the Rangers
fire. They're already chanting "Bring on the Rangers" second half. Celtic Park is absolutely going to be aflame.
that comment earlier on from Willie McMillan as well, saying about the referees, that if they manage to get it, and then it'll be the referee that has a performance for Sevco rather than Sevco players. That is another shift in the narrative we've seen. Rather than worrying about them or their form or our form, now we worry about, we move on to the next thing, you know what I mean? The only thing that they can get that goes in their favour. And I do think, like Michael and Daniel spot on, we heard Brendan say, let's see us all back here in May. You know what I mean? Let's see what fans are delighted about having me back or not having me back now. It's been a hard-fought season, you know what I mean? And I think David had his list of the 10 things I hate about you for Brendan, you know what I mean? But I think he's been doing like a really good job, you know what I mean? He's been coping with the pressure, certainly a lot better than Clement. I mean, Brendan's just saying there, work hard all week and you go out and have fun at the weekend. Now we've put in the hard work, we went out and had fun versus Hearts, put in the hard work again this week and we'll be ready for the weekend and we'll go out and have fun. And Clement's completely lost the plot. He's lost the plot with that. He thinks that's some sort of insult, like they're going to come out with clown shoes on and start rolling about. So if Celtic done that like the Globetrotters, that would be great. Like, you know what I mean? Just give us some of that. Give us a 6-0 and start whistling and dribbling the ball and catching on your neck and that. Give me some of that. I'll take that all day long.
I think Rogers with that comment, he's also reading the crowd. We've been singing "Don't Worry, Be Happy" for like the last couple of months, man. So that's what it's all about, man. So this is it. Don't worry, be happy. Let's go have fun, man.
Brendan's faced a lot of criticism, but for me, we lost the League Cup. We couldn't win that in August, but we're on the verge of potentially winning a double. We won our first Champions League game in 10 years, but we're only arguably 1 win from progressing into the Champions League knockout phase. So for me, he's faced a hell of a lot of criticism, which might have been quite unfounded. We haven't been great at home earlier in the season, which he rightly was criticised at points. But for me, he's done quite a good job. And a lot of people aren't talking about that. And he will love to hear me saying that he's done a good job. So that says a lot about the media and how they see Brendan Rodgers. They see him as maybe the sort of figure that they would like to take down, whereas he's just fought back immensely. And it's quite exciting to see, because arguably in our history, this has got to be the biggest summer where we can spend the most money, because we do have, 8 fixtures potentially in the Champions League. And if that money's there, we need to be getting it spent. We can't be turning up with the same sort of side we've had for the past 2 or 3 years to be played 8 fixtures, because who's going to want to watch us if we've got the same squad as we have right now? But we're going to need to spend money on players who can add something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd like to highlight Frank Brennan's comment here, because this is the kind of comment from Frank that we'd like to encourage rather than personal jibes at other people in
The
chat.
usual, yeah.
Elite Brenda might very well have our lot grounded and calm, but he's wound up the zombies with his glib throwaway comments, and so now he has to deliver. And if not, ...
Don't worry, be happy, man.
Mm-hmm. I don't see.
I mean, he is on the wind up. There's no doubt about it.
I don't see Brendan as under any pressure. I think maybe a couple of months ago he was like he looked a bit down in that, a bit grey, and people were saying it's not box office Brendan, it's not his usual self. But he's certainly since the winter break, he's certainly rediscovered his vigour. You know what I mean? He's come back. Yeah. He's on point. He's outfoxing the other managers. He's outfoxing Clement and McInnes, and you know what I mean? He's using his intelligence and he's judging the situation to keep the team calm, laser focus, and get results. And I think he is an elite level manager. Okay, there's a lot of players this season that have not exactly thrived, but it was going to be a big hangover after Ange leaving, and the big upbeat, how we were all feeling with the football that was being played and the exciting swashbuckling vibe and how happy we all were. Whatever manager came in after that, it was going to be a downturn, or certainly would have seemed that there would have been a downturn. But Brendan came in and he's managed to, like, right now, looks like we're still firmly on track for securing a double. So I think he's done a great job so far. As it pains me, most people would know I was like firmly in the camp of rooting for Knutson to come in. You know what I mean? When we the speaker, Brendan. Yeah, you know what I mean? But as soon as he was appointed, you got to get behind the manager and give him your full support. That's one thing I've been really happy about with the Celtic support. When all the stars have aligned and people have looked for us to capitulate and got on the players' back and got on the team's back, the fans have just said, no, we're the 12th man and we're going to support, pick our team up and play. You know what I mean? Support them the right way. It's been, the fans have been fantastic. Just saying, like, man of the match, player of the season, the Celtic crowd.
Especially some of those performances in the first 6 months of the season. I particularly went to a lot of the games, and you're talking about getting beat 2-0 Hearts at home, just for people to come through that. And the money they're paying, it's quite a lot of money people pay to go at the games. And that says a lot about the Celtic support, that they've went through all that and will still come out the other end. So it says a lot. And I think it's just going to build everybody's character at the end of the season, looking back. Probably at the end, that was a great season to have done what we've done with the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to get a sort of that feeling in my stomach, you know, in the build-up to any Glasgow derby. But this one is, you know, the hype that's going to be surrounding this game on a day-to-day basis is going to build up so much. There's going to be headlines about the riches and all. It's going to be like the most expensive title, the most expensive bout that has ever been seen in Scotland, you know.
Right.
And I get
wins this isn't the driving seat and all that.
Sorry, Gav. I get what Frank's saying there in the comments, right? Signing 9 players at a cost of 23 million, right? That's not exactly, they're all duds, right? First and foremost, you need to let the player play out for a few years his contract, and then you make up a decision whether he's a dud or not. You can't make up that decision in the first 6 months the player's been. He's not even settled or nothing. Number 2, I already expressed that I felt while Ange was at the club, he was telling the board all the right words. He was saying, I'm definitely staying. Just wait until after the cup game at the end of the season. I'm definitely staying. So he was obviously identifying players for this season and targets. And when Brendan's come in, the recruitment teams just went ahead and recruited those players anyway. It's not like Brendan's gave his word and actually individually picked those players. They were obviously scouted and on the books and well along the road to being brought in. So if you're going to blame anybody for those 9 duds, blame Ange Postecoglou and blame the recruitment team at Celtic, more importantly. But when you're going to blame Ange for those 9 duds, look at Rio Hatate and Matt O'Reilly, and I'm sure when we come to trade those players and selling them, the rewards of that will pay dividends in the end.
I mean, a couple of them were signed even before Rodgers came back. Like they just kept cruising with it even after Ange left. There were a couple players signed even before he came in.
I think one that spoke volumes to me was when I heard Jota say after the cup final last year, it's a graduation. You know what I mean? That's like a breaking of the ways, a parting of the company, like the class is disbanding. You know what I mean? Teachers leaving and lots of players are going to be leaving. For the players who remained to feel that dejected, like it's the end of an era, and still re-pick it up and re-bring the fight again. It's fantastic in my opinion. And I'm really looking forward to this game at the weekend. I'm primed to party. Me and Daniel's drink along. Daniel's drink along.
Are you going to be doing it
a theme song
for this game?
Yeah. Oh, I hope so.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm into it. Yeah, we're there.
All right.
Let's do it.
Score predictions.
Oh well, we're going to do a bigger build-up on Thursday, but presumably it'll be with different people on the panel. So I'll let you guys give us score predictions, Michael.
4-0.
Oh, you stole
4-0.
Feeling very bold.
Wow.
I was going for the 4-0 as well, Michael, but I think I'll go for the 4-1. We know there's got to be the industry standard penalty bingo. You know what I mean? The 55th minute, the staunchest minute possible. Yeah, we want to drink along. Let's go. We all want to drink along.
Let's do it. Everybody else here on Celtic World, and I have the utmost respect for you guys, but everybody's like, oh no, not the Rangers game, not the Rangers game. Let's do it, man.
Get me one of those beer hats, Daniel, with 2 bottles of Buckfast in it upside down, and see if we get the result in the Rangers game. I'll be getting the haircut. I'll be getting the Brenda bow. You know what I mean?
10-gallon hat, literally, with 10 gallons of beer inside. Yeah, do it.
Next, Ouija boys feeling very confident.
It was super fun last weekend. I mean, this is a great way to take the and we got a lot of reaction, man. It was fantastic.
Apparently, Police Scotland are even warning themselves that they're going to be looking for a party at the Merchant City following the game. I read that in one of the newspapers. So,
well, if any of these scores come true, I think that's pretty much a certainty. Anyway, let's jump on to Celtic social media things because we're way over the hour already.
Mm-mm.
And Paddy Lavery needs to organise his day accordingly. Doesn't want us delaying him. This is what you were talking about earlier, the 2 Japanese players that had to take the train home.
Actually, a few of my friends were on that train and they were actually with them. They seen them. That's how I know about the story. So it was confirmed that it was actually under those circumstances that Stephen Naismith booted them out after talking to Kyogo and Hitatis, which is prime.
What
Stephen
I want to know is, was he upset at the fact that they were talking to them, or were they holding up the team bus because they were blethering away and he was like, to hell with it, let's go? I
think he just told the bus to leave early and just make a point of it. I don't think it was the fact that they were holding up the bus. As a person, I think Stephen Naismith is that petty that he would just make that point.
Yeah.
That is just a window into exactly what Naismith's all about. And how dare you be talking to them? He said very much sees it as them and us.
Yeah, completely.
What about this? There's a lot of anger directed at Fabio Silva for his celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Rip up that loan contract and send him back. Real bastard.
He is so worthless, man. It is ridiculous. So dramatic.
He's one of those players that will probably rack up a considerable fee from transfer fees in his career, but he's never actually really scored 20 plus goals in a season.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? He'll play for all these clubs.
Yeah, like he's generally a journeyman, but he keeps running
Like,
out
where
of
he
teams
moves.
for like 10, 20 million pounds every time. Yeah.
Where Fabio Silva is there, that looks like that's the Brimlin Road stand at the Brimlin Road end. So that looks like he's talking directly to the
Onion
Bunyan
Bells.
Bells.
Yeah.
This
What
was
an
me this
absolute
morning.
arse. Mayday, bank holiday, and I've woken up at 6 a.m. Oh, there's
God,
sound
that's
on
so
this.
pathetic.
I didn't realize.
Just so pathetic. Look at that.
Absolutely
That's-
horrible.
He looks like he got shot at the start of that clip. Like literally, oh gosh.
He will definitely be playing on Saturday, won't he? They'll try and get a
Mhm.
penalty through him. That's the full tactic and training the whole week.
The way he was rolling around there, I thought there was someone in the crowd with a shotgun. They had a boxing glove in the end and just shot him in the face with it. He just went down like a ton of bricks. He's spitting out looking for blood and everything. There was no contact. There was actually no contact.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
would-
look, we've got over 300 people watching us, so that's good news. Watching
Welcome,
live.
legends. Smash like and subscribe.
I private message you something, Gav, that I want to kind of cover before we leave. But I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll just play this little message to anyone who may be watching for the first time.
Hello all the Celtic fans. Here in France we love the Celtic world. C'est fantastique. Subscribe. C'est un fait accompli.
And we
Yeah,
might soon be having Christophe joining us
Yes, dude,
on
Christophe, you're the
screen.
man.
So looking forward to that.
Allez, allez,
You
let's
private
go.
message me something,
I did. I'm kind of based down here.
Instagram thing.
I'm down here on the south coast of Korea right now. I'm not at my usual place at my house. And this place is called the Haenam House. If anybody listening in or watching the show, Haenam House, Haenam, brilliant, beautiful place on a bluff right above the seaside, hot tub, just an incredible, incredible guest house here, off the beaten path here in Korea. If you're doing the tourist thing, really, really an incredible spot that my friend Sean is kind of hosting the podcast with tonight. Kind of an impromptu thing where he had plans change, and I've got a holiday tomorrow, so we were like, yeah, let's do it.
Dan,
So
I like that. I like that
drove
hot tub and that pink water. That's for the drink along. I want a hot tub stream.
down. Yes, we got to
There's
do
a
it.
bag of nuts.
We got to do it. Bag of nuts, man. But I mean, the scenery down here is beautiful. It's right along the coast, like I said, on the South Sea of Korea. And I mean, the deck, the hot tub, I mean, the house, you can host like 8 to 10 people here.
Wow.
You can book through Airbnb, whatever.
Look at
Just
you,
use
Dano.
code Dano.
Brilliant,
Use code
brilliant
Dano
guest
for
house.
10% off.
Yeah.
Code
I can
Dano.
I can definitely get you guys. This is one of my best friends. I met him back in college. We've been fast friends ever since I came here like 18 years ago. So if any of you guys want some kind of discount code or we could set something up, I'm sure he'd be into it.
Hell yeah.
So the Haenam House, Haenam House.
Okay, so that means I can't say we don't have advertisers on this show because we've just done a massive
your
advert.
sponsor?
for-
We're not.
everybody's-
He's not sponsoring. Come on, man. This is fam, man.
What, we did all that for fun, for free? Oh my god!
Do I have to pay some penalty now? Oh, fuck.
Dan will be reaping the benefits of it in the hot tub.
Yeah.
All right, lads, well done. We started late and we're over time, so we better wrap it up here and say to everyone who's been on the show, thank you very much for being here, lads. Thanks to everyone in the comments. We'll be back on Thursday with a big, proper preview of the massive game that's coming up in all of our lives in just a few short days. Until then,
Hail, hail.
hail, hail.
Yo, yo.
Yeah.